Iansã, in the pantheon of the orixás, is one of the most powerful and fascinating figures. She is the goddess of winds, storms, and lightning. Her true name is Oya, and her energy is wild, intense, and uncontrollable, like the wind that cuts through mountains. From the moment we hear about Iansã, it becomes clear that she is not an ordinary orixá. She is the Lady of Transformations, an unbeatable warrior who, with her indomitable spirit, shapes the destiny of those who follow her. When we look at the sky, as dark clouds begin to form and thunder rumbles in the distance, it's easy to imagine Iansã there, dancing among the winds, masterfully guiding the air currents. And not only that, she is also the only one capable of commanding the spirits of the dead, the enchants, leading them in their passage to the other side. Iansã does not fear the unknown. She moves between the world of the living and the world of the dead with the same ease as the wind blows through the trees. In the pantheon of the orixás, Iansã holds a prominent position, not only for her powers over nature but also for her strong and striking personality. She is not a peaceful or tranquil goddess. Her presence is always felt, whether in battles or in the hearts of those who face difficult challenges. When you find yourself in a moment of turbulence, when you feel the winds of life blowing against you, it is Iansã who stands beside you, challenging you to continue, to resist, to fight with all your strength. But who is Iansã, really? To understand this, we need to dive into her story, which begins long before she became known as the Lady of Storms. Iansã was not born as the powerful wind goddess we know today. Her story begins simply, like many orixás, but her journey would soon become extraordinary. It all begins with her creation in the womb of Emania, the queen of the seas, and Oxala, the orixá of creation. Imagine a peaceful setting, the vast ocean where Emania reigned in tranquility. It was there that she gave birth to Oya, the young woman who would one day be known as Iansã. From the beginning, Oya showed that she was different. Even as a child, she had a strong, curious, and adventurous spirit. While her siblings followed calmer paths, Oya always sought the unknown. She wasn't the type to be content with standing on the sidelines of power or following established rules. Inside her, there was already a rebellious wind, blowing with strength, pushing her to seek more, to discover more. The relationship between Oya and her mother, Emania, was always one of deep respect. Emania, being the goddess of the seas, represented the calm, depth, and wisdom of the waters. She tried to teach Oya patience and serenity, but this was not the nature of the young goddess. Oya wanted movement, action. To her, the sea was beautiful, but the air currents, the winds blowing over the waves, that's what truly captured her attention. Oxala, her father, watched from afar as his daughter's restless spirit grew. As the great creator of the universe, he understood that each orixá had a special role to play, and with Oya, he sensed that something greater was coming. Oxala was the orixá of peace and order, and as he watched his daughter grow, he knew her journey would be very different. He didn't interfere directly, allowing Oya to find her own path, because he knew that the young woman needed to discover her own powers, her own strengths. Over time, Oya began to feel a connection with the winds. It was something almost natural for her. When the winds blew across the plains, she felt a calling. When the leaves of the trees danced with the breeze, Oya felt that it was a part of who she was. It was as if she was destined to command these invisible forces, these powerful currents that no one could see but everyone could feel. Soon, the young goddess began to understand that her strength came from the air, from movement, from transformation. It was at this moment that her first powers began to manifest. Over time, Oya learned to control the winds, molding them according to her will. It wasn't easy, and it required tremendous willpower. At first, the winds were unpredictable, like her own personality. But with practice, Oya began to master the air currents, creating storms when necessary and calming the skies when she desired. Her relationship with Emania and Oxala changed as her powers grew. Emania, though proud of her daughter, saw that Oya had chosen a path very different from hers. Oxala watched cautiously, knowing that the young goddess was still discovering her full potential. But they both knew that Oya was no longer just a goddess in training. She was destined for something greater, something that would change the fate of the orixás forever. Thus, Oya began to forge her path as the future Iansã, the Lady of Winds and Storms. But her journey was just beginning. More challenges would arise, more discoveries would come, and with them, new powers that would make her one of the most powerful orixás in the entire pantheon. Now that you know the warrior and passionate side of Iansã, let's dive into another equally fascinating aspect of this orixá, her connection with the enchants, the spirits of the dead. This is one of the most mysterious and, at the same time, essential roles of Iansã. Did you know that she is the only orixá with the power to control and guide the enchants? This makes her a unique figure in the African pantheon and in Afro-Brazilian religions, such as Candomblé and Umbanda. But what exactly does this mean? To better understand, imagine that Iansã not only controls the winds and storms but also the boundary between the world of the living and the world of the dead. She is the guide who leads souls, ensuring that the spirits of those who have passed do not remain trapped in the physical world, wandering aimlessly. Iansã has the power to open and close the doors to the realm of the dead, and this sets her apart from all other orixás. In religious rituals, when there is a need to deal with the enchants, it is Iansã who takes command. She is called to drive away spirits that may be disturbing the living or to guide those who need help on their journey to the other side. This power over the dead makes Iansã not only a respected figure but also a feared one. After all, who else has the courage to venture into the world of spirits and master their forces? Only she does. And for this reason, her presence is essential in rituals of healing, protection, and passage. You've likely noticed that Iansã is not an ordinary orixá, and her connection with the enchants is one of her greatest responsibilities. She stands out as a figure who is not intimidated by death. On the contrary, Iansã faces it head-on, with a force that few can comprehend. This role as a guide for the dead transforms her into a goddess who reminds us that death is not the end, but a natural part of the cycle of life, and that even in those moments, we are under her protection. However, Iansã's role goes beyond African mythology. In Brazil, she is syncretized with Santa Barbara, a Catholic saint known for her courage and for being a protector against storms and lightning. This connection is no coincidence. Both Iansã and Santa Barbara are strong feminine figures, associated with nature's power and the control of destructive forces. While Iansã commands the winds and storms, Santa Barbara is invoked for protection against the same forces that the orixá commands. You might be wondering, why were these two very different figures syncretized? The answer lies in the symbolic power they both represent. Santa Barbara, like Iansã, is a figure who faces danger head-on. Her story in Catholicism speaks of courage in the face of adversity, of strength in the face of oppression. This is precisely the strength that also defines Iansã. So, when the first African slaves arrived in Brazil, they saw in Santa Barbara a figure who mirrored the power of Iansã, and this connection has persisted to this day. In Brazil and many parts of the world, celebrations dedicated to Iansã and Santa Barbara still attract thousands of devotees. In Candomblé, rituals are held to honor Iansã and her power over the winds and the dead. In the Catholic Church, masses and processions dedicated to Santa Barbara ask for her protection against storms and dangers. This union between African and Catholic spirituality shows how Iansã transcends cultural barriers, becoming a universal figure of strength and transformation. Are you enjoying the story so far? Then, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to keep up with more fascinating stories like this. As we near the end of this journey with Iansã, it's important to remember the central role she plays not just as a warrior, but as a goddess of transformations. Iansã is not just about storms and winds. She represents the changes in life, the strength needed to face challenges, and the courage to move forward, even when everything around us seems chaotic. She teaches us that, like the winds, life is always in motion, always changing, and it's up to us to find the strength within ourselves to keep up with those changes. We conclude with a reflection on Iansã's power. She is the goddess who governs storms and winds, but also the one who guides us through the greatest transformations of life. When everything around us is in motion, when we feel the winds pushing us in uncertain directions, it is Iansã who gives us the courage to move forward. The personality of Iansã's children is marked by passion and intensity. They rarely do things halfway. When they commit to a task, they do it wholeheartedly. This intensity can be seen both in relationships and in their professional and personal activities. They are people who love deeply but can also react with great strength when they feel wronged or disrespected. Their temperament is often compared to a storm, unpredictable but powerful. Additionally, Iansã's children have a special connection with change and transformation. Like their spiritual mother, they are unafraid of the new and are often driven by the need to innovate and explore new horizons. They are always in motion, physically or mentally, looking for ways to transform their lives and the lives of those around them. This adaptability is one of their greatest strengths, as it allows them to overcome any difficulty or obstacle in their path. However, this strong personality can also make Iansã's children seem stubborn or inflexible. Once they have formed an opinion on something, it is difficult to convince them otherwise. Their determination, which is often a positive trait, can turn into stubbornness, especially when they feel challenged. But this stubbornness also stems from their confidence in their abilities and the power they feel within, a direct connection to Iansã's strength. Finally, Iansã's devotees are known for their loyalty and courage. They fiercely defend those they love, acting as natural protectors. In times of crisis, they are the ones who stand firm and take the lead, helping others to overcome difficulties. Their inner strength and bravery in the face of the unknown make them inspiring individuals, who transmit confidence and security to those around them. Just as Iansã guides the winds and dominates storms, her children are capable of guiding their own lives with determination and purpose. And so, with her sword in one hand and her whip in the other, she rides through the skies, reminding us that true strength comes from within. May Iansã, the Lady of Winds and Change, inspire us to face our storms with courage and move forward, always stronger. To wrap up this video, I want to thank you for watching until the end. If you enjoyed the content and want to continue this journey with me, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your comment. Your participation is very important for us to continue sharing these stories of power and transformation. And may Iansã continue to guide us with her strength and courage. See you in the next video?